Okay, today I'm at my grandma Moo's house. Say hi, Moo. And I am fixing this Victrola that one of my mom's friends dropped off for me to fix. So when my mom was bringing it, I told her to crank it up, and she overcranked it and broke a gear and pinion. So I just finished drilling out the pinion. Here it is. You can see the hole through there. I cleared the pinion out. I had to drill it out because it was wedged in there pretty good. And here is the gear that's supposed to go on the end of there. It also has holes in there, and I have to clear out the old pinion. That gear goes here. Let me show you. So that gear is supposed to sit right under this main spring gear right there. And the crank goes in the shaft right here. It threads into the shaft, see? So anyway, it wouldn't wind up the Victrola because the gear kept slipping. But now with this pinion I'm about to drive through there out of some random piece of metal that I find that's going to work, it will fix that. Let's fix that. So the tricky part is the pinion has to be inserted once the gear is in place. It has to be driven with it like this, basically. Here's part of the old pinion. I pushed it out of this hole with a toothpick. Let's get this section out right there. Now, I don't have a pinion of this exact size, but I believe where it is situated, I can use a cotter pin and it'll suffice. So let's put this gear on here, and then we'll go get a cotter pin and finish fixing it with the cotter pin. There, now we'll put a cotter pin through that. Actually, just kidding. I have to repeat that step, but once it's on there, I keep forgetting. This gear has to be over here. So we'll have to do it once this little shaft is passed through this hole. Okay, let's fix it here. Let's see, I can turn that so it's that way. Now we've got to put a cotter pin through it. I opened up the cotter pin because it was too big to go in if it wasn't opened. Okay, this appears to be doing the trick. See if we can get it out the other side. Okay, it came out the other side. I need this turned a little bit. I need a pair of pliers to pull that. But it is working. It's coming out the other side. Okay, I got some clines. These will bend them, or bend the cotter pin. We'll just bend it up a little bit. Just so it won't hit the other gear. You know what? Let me push this in here. There. Okay, let me bend this some more. Okay, I got it bent in place, and that is a fix for that. All the pinion does is keep the gear from slipping, so the cotter pin will suffice. Now, the main issue when it was brought to me before my mom broke it was that this little rod was a little bit bent, so it would keep the governor from maintaining the right speed, and it wouldn't spin at all. So I bent this rod a little bit more earlier, and this is the speed control right here. See, it lifts that little brake so that this governor can spin out more. If you've ever heard the saying balls to the wall, that means full speed, because these would go out more as it went faster. So anyway, but it couldn't go any faster because it was stuck off, basically. Well, let's put this back together, and then we'll play a record. I do need to rebuild the reproducer. I need to put new gaskets on there. The gaskets are old and worn out rubber. You can see the crackling on there. Once I do that, it'll sound much better than it's about to. The governor is actually spinning a little bit right now from the tension still left in the spring. It looks like it was freshly greased, though. Or maybe that's really old grease. There's a little schematic diagram thing. But yeah, it tells you where to oil everything. Anyway, let's go ahead and put this back. So these hooks right here hook onto these, and then it just like turns into there. That is the amplification horn right there. This whole thing is acoustically amplified. Anyway, so this horn right here, which has the reproducer with the needle on it, it gets bigger and bigger as it goes, and then the sound comes out right there. Okay, let's put the turntable back together. Here's the crank. Let's see if we can get it to wind up now. Let's listen now. And is it gonna thread in there? Hang on, I gotta find where to thread it in. Get in there. I gotta line it up so it turns and threads in. There it goes. And it's cranking. You can hear it winding up the spring, and there it is spinning. Okay, that now works. Okay, the turntable is on and the brake is engaged. Let's shut off the brake. Turn off the brake. There it goes. It's spinning now. I have no words. Okay, that's working. Here's the speed regulator. See if we can speed that up or slow it down. This should be the fastest right there. And then it should be the slowest right there. That is working. Okay, now we're going to put this old worn out reproducer on here, and I will have to order the rubber gaskets to rebuild this, but we should get our first sounds out of this. Okay, this is a spare record I have. It is not of importance to me. It is a melody of children's songs, or medley of children's songs. Let's go ahead and try this out. Okay, break off. Open it for sound. Let's speed it up. That needs to be rebuilt really bad. Anyway, that should sound much better than that, but that reproducer is garbage. So I'll have to change out the gaskets and then it'll be good as new. This is how that record should sound on an ideal record player. Is that a sharp needle? You have to change out these steel needles after every play. It's still really quiet. My other record players would work much better than that. This should be weighted more. That's a reproduction right there, that reproducer. So that's why it sounds like garbage. Anyway, that's it. Okay, temporarily, just so we can see kind of how this will sound, I took the reproducer off of my dulcetto, which this is the reproduction reproducer, and we'll see how that same record sounds. Okay, here we go. That's a quiet record. Let's change it out. Okay, this is still a quiet record, but it's much better than the other one. It's not as worn. I think this one is from 1913. And that's it.